So my name is Sri Venkataraman. I came all the way from New York. Hey, Paul, how are you? Came all the way from New York for this presentation. I've been coming to the blockchain events in Ukraine for the past 3 years or so at the invitation of Pavel Kravchenko, founder of Distributed Lab, and I'm honored to be here for the third or fourth time now in Kiev. So what I'm going to talk today is about a case study that we are doing. I've been working on blockchain projects since 2014. This case study is all about what we call the claim substantiation. What I mean by that is that if you take any kind of product and if it claims any benefits or efficacy, thank you, to the potential customer, how do you substantiate that efficacy or the claim through a blockchain-based platform? Because traditionally when you buy a product, let's say a food, and if it says no sugar, well, the product should not contain any sugar, and you can actually see on the ingredients that there is no sugar, so there is no sugar. But that is not applicable to most of the products that we buy, and this solution that we are developing for a client, which I cannot reveal the name, but will show actually how blockchain enables the substantiation of a claim for that product. So I'll talk briefly about the client, what they do, and what kind of claims do make for their products, and how we enable that claim substantiation through two things: provenance tracking and the claim substantiation through the ingredients from source to the product, and what are the benefits. And after that, I will open it up for Q&A, and Anastasia will probably give me some cues if I'm running out of time. Thank you. So that's what it is. So who is the client? The client is a multinational skincare and cosmetics and makeup company based in New York. And their products are sold all over the world. And a lot of the sales happen over the internet. And they cater to the millennial population primarily. People who are aware of what they buy, what they choose to put on their body, as well as ingest for nutrition. And or what they put on their skin is for the topical application for skincare, makeup, or cosmetics, mostly on the face. And then women's skincare and men's grooming. And the last piece is because it's primarily sold on the internet, so they can make lots and lots of information available about the product through their web pages, blogs, bloggers, influencers, Instagram, blah, blah, blah. So that's the client. And I'll briefly talk about the questions that most of us need to be asking when we are buying certain products, right? So when a makeup or skincare product says this is anti-aging or anti-wrinkle or dark circle reduction, how do we really know whether it gives you that benefit? What are the ingredients that are in there in the product that will help you determine that this product actually gives you that benefit of, let's say, anti-aging or anti-wrinkle? It's not easy to do that. Why? Because the industry, they don't want you to know. They don't want you, it's a stretch to say they don't want you to know, but it's mostly because the existing regulations that came about back, let's say, 70 years ago, is not really useful as of today. It has outlived its utility probably 40 years ago, but the industry continued to do the same thing, what they are doing, by not really telling you that certain ingredients in that product will give you the benefits that they are claiming, like anti-aging or anti-wrinkle. And that's what we are trying to do through this blockchain solution. So I'm delving a little deeper into skincare because that's where most of the issues are. So if on the right-hand side, you will see the product. This is not the customer product, but this is just a sample we picked up from the web. So that's a product which says anti-aging. At the bottom, there's ingredient listing. Ingredient listing is mostly about what it contains. So it contains oil, water, preservatives, some anti-aging ingredients, and so on and so forth. So that's at the bottom. But if you really look at it, most consumers would not really understand what it contains because they are in Latin names. So for instance, water is not water, it's aqua. There are some ingredients which says, I think, argan oil, at the bottom. But argan oil is not called argan oil, it's something else. So, people, even you are well-versed in English, you wouldn't understand what it all means. So that's because of the regulations which requires the skincare companies or cosmetic companies to list their ingredient in an INCI format, INCA format, which is mostly Latin names, as opposed to a food product which will say, oil, let's say sunflower oil and sugar and something else. You can actually state that in plain English, but in skincare cosmetics, it doesn't say that. So most consumers wouldn't know what it contains. And lastly, the provenance tracking. The lack of provenance tracking makes the manufacturers play some dirty games in their marketing claims by not revealing what it really contains and where it is coming from. So that's really the problem statement. So now that you know what I'm trying to do here, what we are trying to lead up to is a blockchain-based solution for provenance tracking. And then once I set up the provenance tracking, I can do the claim substantiation. So provenance tracking involves, it can be at the ingredient level, let's say argan oil. I can show where it is coming from, let's say from Morocco, from the farm, where it is harvested, where it is stored, where it is certified, and how from Morocco all the way to, let's say, the United States or in the manufacturer's manufacturing facility, let's say in the state of Ohio in the US, I can show at the ingredient level the claims, the provenance tracking. So if I do that, then I can give more information to the customers because most of the products are sold on the internet. And I can also show at the actual mapping of that argan oil from Morocco all the way to the product at an atomic level. Which means what? I am unlocking new business processes in the supply chain and also making it much more transparent so that the customers, end users, would know where it is coming from and how it is tracked at each stage. So there is no marketing gimmicks that I'm playing. So this is where it is, right? So it's all developed on the blockchain using smart contracts for intelligent business processes to be embedded in the supply chain all the way from source to production. And then because I'm showing everything that is going into the product, I can then claim in a much more effective manner the substantiation of the anti-aging or anti-wrinkle by that ingredient. So when you buy the product, you would know that it contains this ingredient, let's say argan oil, and it gives me anti-aging benefits to the person who is buying. And the thing that to be noted in this slide is that the supply chain audit can be performed at any time. At any time, and even going back in history, because it's on blockchain, is immutable, you can actually go back and verify that this product contains what I bought, let's say 2 years ago, it did contain argan oil from Morocco, for example, or the fragrance, let's say lavender essential oil, and I would know it came from either Hungary or France or even China, because they all have the same INCI name, but it doesn't tell you, currently it doesn't tell you where it is coming from. But with this blockchain-based platform, I can actually see that it came from, let's say, Hungary or France, the lavender, and which farm it came from, and the dates of production, of planting, harvesting, production, storage, and all of that. And the other thing to be noted is the product recall. If there is a recall, like in a food, it can be easily recalled with the exact information that I have on my blockchain, and it will be much more transparent at the customer end. So the benefits is all about, what is great about the product and how do I prove things like, vegan or halal or kosher or any kind of fair trade or sustainability claims that I'm making, because I'm showing everything from the supply chain, right from the time the ingredient was planted all the way to the way it made its way into the product. The other thing you can do, this is not just on the planting, but also in the lab. If your ingredient is a lab-based, which means you make it in a lab synthetically, you can also show the entire chain all the way from the time it entered the lab, the raw materials, to the way it was made, and to the way it is processed and stored and certified, and then the manufacturer bought it, and then it got added to the product. So think about it like greater supply chain integrity and greater information to the end consumers, which will help the consumers to make an informed buying decision, because they are not just buying a product that is in a pretty package, but it's more like a product that is, that is stated, all the ingredients that it contains, and also the benefits, and the I can also make, as a manufacturer, I can make my the information that is available to me on the ingredients and the source from the source to the product to the consumers in a friendly manner, so the consumers are more aware about what they are buying and what the product contains and the reason why. And the last piece is the greater engagement with the customers, because it's all on the internet, meaning the products are sold on the internet. The consumers are much more actively engaged. Back and forth conversations can happen, as opposed to one-way conversation, which is what is happening now traditionally. And that will also make the consumers much more satisfied in what they're buying and what they're getting and whatnot. I think this is the last slide. Do I have more time or no? Okay. I think this is the last slide on this one. I'm opening myself to questions.